So, ito, again, today, we will discuss about the introduction lang naman. Introduction muna ng engineering economics. So, we need to define the basic principles, economic environment, and cost terminology. So, other than that, ito, i-discuss natin yan sa mga susunod na araw. So, sige, proceed tayo with Chapter 1, Introduction to Engineering Economics. Again, pag choppy ako, mahinang internet ko, sabihan nyo ako, ano, kasi possible, maglalag to. So, baka may mga informations kayong ma-miss. Na-interrupt ako by speaking again. Okay. The technological and social environments in which we live continues to change at a rapid rate. In recent decades, advances in science and engineering have transformed our transportation system, revolutionized the practice of medicine, miniaturized electronic circuits so that a computer can be placed on a semiconductor. The list of such achievements seem almost endless. Ako ba is audible? Naririnig po?
Yes po, sir. Audible po.
Yes po, sir. Audible po.
Yan, goods. No? So, syempre, as the time goes, thank you as the time goes by, sa ngayon, tumataas yung mga nagiging requirement or satisfaction needed ng mga tao. Syempre, pagtaas ng satisfaction, kailangan makasunod din yung society and environment. Like ngayon, kailangan sa online class, naka-high-tech. Kumbaga, kailangan naka-touchscreen, may internet. Hindi po pwede na dikipan yung gagamitin natin sa online, di ba? So, yun yung mga example. No? Malay nyo, after 5 to 10 years, si Janela makapag-produce or makapag-innovate ng product kung saan yung cellphone is invisible. No? So, tatanong ko si Janela, bakit kailangan pang mag-innovate ng isang cellphone na invisible? Kasi sir, gusto ko po yung mga college students after 5 to 10 years, madali nang makakapag-cheating po. Hindi na po makikita ng mga ng mga proctor kasi invisible na po. Yun po yung main goal ko. Gusto ko pong makatulong sa mga estudyante na makapasa agad. So, malay nyo, 5 to 10 years, ma-launch yun ni Janela. No? So, hopefully, yung mga ganong bagay, yun, isa sa mga satisfaction nyo na maaaring bilhin ng mga student in the near future. So, sa ating engineering, according to the Accreditation Board for Engineering and Technology, it states that the engineering is the profession in which a knowledge of the mathematical and natural sciences is gained by study, experience, and practical, which is applied with judgment in order to keep ways to utilize economically the materials and forces of nature for the benefit of mankind. Sabi dito, is applied with judgment. Tayo, ginajudge natin yung isang bagay in order to create an innovative product, which is considering by the study, based din sa mga experiences natin and yung mga practical demonstration na maaaring mag-benefit hindi lang sa society, kundi sa mga customer or sa mga gagamit nung i-innovate nating product. So, engineering emphasize the economic aspects of engineering. The physical aspect, it is essential that the economic part of engineering practice can be accomplished well, and engineers use knowledge to find new ways of doing things economically. Tayong mga engineers, in the near future, in order to create an innovative product, kailangan lahat ng mga aaralin natin dito pa lang sa Batangas State University is kailangan ma-adapt natin. Kasi ito yung gagamitin nating knowledge in order to create a positive output na magbe-benefits economically. So, engineering economy involves the systematic evaluations of the economic merits of proposed solution to engineering problems to be economically acceptable or affordable Solutions to engineering problem must demonstrate a positive balance of long-term benefits over a long-term cost. An analysis and evaluation of the factors that will affect the economic success of engineering projects to the end that a recommendation can be made which will ensure the best use of capital. Dito, sa engineering economics, kailangan lagi tayong may evaluation. Kailangan inaalam natin kung ano yung possible proposed solution doon sa engineering problems. Kailangan acceptable siya, affordable siya, and then we don't need to consider yung cost. We have to consider yung long-term benefits niya. Pero there are times, there are factors, there are considerations that we are considering cost in a business. So for example, yung isang equipment is, example lang consumable siya, kinakailangan sa isang business, sa isang company nyo, based on sa machines, is 3 months. Based doon sa consideration mo, ang cost niya is super low and it cost 3 months. And then yung kalaban niya, alternative, super taas yung cost, pero 3 months din. Siyempre, we are considering cost. Pero paano pag mga long term, no? We have to consider the quality naman, not the cost. No. So solutions to engineering problem must promote the well-being and survival of an organization, embody creative and innovative technology and ideas, permits identification and scrutiny of their estimated outcomes, and translate profitability to the bottom line through a valid and acceptable measure of merit. Lagi niyong tatandaan, in order to solve an engineering problem, kailangan yung evaluation natin and yung decision making natin is 100% sure. Kasi kapag tayo, lagi naman diba, kahit sa totoong buhay, in order to solve a problem, kailangan mataas yung kumpiyansa natin sa sarili na masosolve natin. Kasi pagbaba ng confidence natin, pagbaba din ng accomplishment or possible result ng ating problem. Or solutions. No? The next one, engineering economics analysis can play a role in many types in a situation. For example, you are choosing the best design for a high efficiency gas furnace. Siyempre, best na agad. You need to select the most suitable robot for a welding operation and automotive assembly line. Pinaka suitable robot na, making a recommendation about whether a jet airplanes for an overnight delivery service should be purchased or leased, and etc. No? So, napakadami na pwedeng ng possible maging example natin in order to analyze a situation based sa ating engineering economics. And an engineering economy, it includes significant technical consideration, involves technical analysis with emphasis on the economic aspect, and has the objective of assisting decisions. Take note, dito sa engineering economics, we have to consider the technical analysis. Ano ba yung mga kina-consider natin sa technical analysis? Yung mga specifications. So for example, sa kumpanya natin, halimbawa, sa kumpanya namin, kinakailangan namin ng isang PVC pipe. And then, ang recommendation ng planta is 400 mm in diameter. Hindi mo kino-consider yung technical analysis based on sa specifications. Sabi ng engineer, sabi PVC pipe, bumili ka na lang doon 600 mm in diameter. Do you think it is acceptable doon sa requirement na hinihingi ng planta? Do you think it is reasonable to supply based doon sa design? So we have to consider the technical considerations. No? We have to consider the technicality. We have to analyze it. Kasi ang pinag-uusapan natin dito is pera. Kapag mali yung ating binigay na item, based doon sa pangangailangan ng planta, tumataas yung expenses natin. At pagtaas ng expenses, bumababa yung profit natin. So in order to help the company, in order to help the business, we need to consider the technical evaluation. If 400 millimeter yung pangangailangan, kailangan ito yung may supply ninyo. So that yung expenses is hindi tataas and possible, tumaas yung profit kapag tama yung ating pinrovide na material or item. Take note that a good engineer who is an engineer who is unprepared to excel at engineering economy is not properly equipped for his or her job. Kapag kayo, basta na kayo gumagawa, basta na kayo nag-create ng isang decision na hindi nyo kinoconsider yung technical analysis or technical evaluation, you are not considered as a good engineer. Tatandaan niyo yan. So there are fundamental principles of an engineering economy. The first one, you have to develop the alternatives, focus on the differences, use a consistent viewpoint, use a common unit of measurement, consider all the relevant criteria, make risk and uncertainty explicit, and revisit your ideas. So isa-isa natin. The first one is you have to develop the alternatives. Sige nga, pabasa ako, Janela.
Number 1, develop the alternatives. First, carefully define the problem. Then the choice or decision is among alternatives. The alternatives need to be identified and then defined for subsequent analysis.
Ayan, So you have to develop the alternatives. But before we develop the alternative, first, we need to carefully define the problems. Bakit? Kailangan alam muna natin yung problema. Kailangan naiintindihan muna natin yung problema. So for example, sabi sa akin ni Eya, Sir, may problem po ako. In order to develop the alternative, kailangan maintindihan muna natin, ano bang problema mo, Eya? Sir, hindi po kasi ako sagutin ng nililigawan ko. Yun po yung problema ko. Okay, sige, na-define na natin yung problema, naiintindihan natin yung problema. Then, choice, a decision among the alternatives. And the alternatives need to be identified and defined for subsequent analysis. Okay na tayo sa problema, na-define na natin. We need to focus on the differences. Only the differences in expected future outcomes among the alternatives are relevant to their comparison and should be considered in the decision. Based pala dito sa alternatives, sabi ni Eya sa akin, Sir, pero nakaisip po ako ng possible options or alternative. Yung option 1 ko po, para sagutin ako, 80% po, based po dun sa aming dating stage. 80% po, sir, kailangan daw po, bago niya ako sagutin, magbigay daw po ako ng effort and time. 15% daw po, bigyan ko daw po siya ng pera. And then 5% po, option 3 is bigyan ko daw po siya ng pagkain. So ito pong tatlong option ang maging possible na maaaring sagutin ako ng aking nililigawan, sir. So nakita na natin yung tatlong alternatives, yung tatlong option para sagutin ka. Yan, nakita na natin yung differences, no? And use a consistent viewpoint. The prospective outcomes of the alternatives, economic and other, should be consistently developed from a defined viewpoint. And the fourth one, use a common unit of measure. Using a common unit of measure to enumerate as many as the prospective outcomes as possible will simplify the analysis of the alternatives. Siyempre, si Eya pupunta sa first option. Yung 80% magbibigay daw siya ng effort and time. Sabi dito, use a common unit of measure. Paano natin matidefine itong 80% yung effort and time? Effort and time. So sabi ni Eya, Sir, kasi yung schedule ko po from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Ito po yung study time ko. And then po, 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. Dito po magbibigay ako ng time and effort para sagutin ako. So nakita natin yung common unit of measure. Na-enumerate natin, paano? Possible po kasi sir, sa 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. sagutin niya ako, kaya ito po yung ibibigay kong time sa kanya. So consider all relevant criteria. Selections of preferred alternative decision-making requires the use of a criterion or several criteria. So the decision process could consider both the outcomes enumerated in the monetary unit and those expressed in some units of measurement or made explicit in a descriptive manner. Siyempre, yun nga, nakita na natin based on our decision making, 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. Ito yung naging criteria natin para sagutin tayo. Ito yung naging way natin para sagutin tayo. Use make risk and uncertainty explicit. Risk and uncertainty are inherent in estimating the future outcomes of the alternatives and should be recognized in their analysis and comparison. Kailangan ma-analyze natin and ma-compare natin. And take note, we have to take a risk in order to assure na magiging maganda yung achievement natin na mapapasagot ni Eya yung kanyang nililigawan. You need to revisit your decisions. Improve decisions in making results from an adaptive process. To the extent practicable, the initial projected outcomes of the selected alternative should be subsequently compared with actual results achieved. Halimbawa, ayan nga, yun yung you need to revisit your decisions. Baka mamaya, yung 80% na sinasabi mo is hindi pala, no? So, kailangan you need to go back and improve your decisions. Baka possible may mga dapat kang i-consider pa. Okay? So, engineering economy and the design process. An engineering economy study is accomplished using a structured procedure and the mathematical modeling techniques. The economics results are then used in a decision situation that normally includes other engineering knowledge and input. Sa engineering economy, we have to consider also the design process. Katambal ng engineering economy is yung design process. Meron tayong mga procedure na sinusunod. May mga mathematical modeling tayong sinusunod. So for example, based on my work, no? Kailangan sumunod ako sa procedure. Hindi pwedeng basta-basta na ako magko-conduct ng decision-making process ko. Kasi sa trabaho ko, for example, based on my experience, so sa planta namin, may mga pangangailangan yung aming end user. Like, halimbawa, kinakailangan ng planta ng isang backup na pump. So, kailangan kong sundin. So, sasabihin ko sa requestor ko, magawa ka muna ng PR or SR, service request or purchase request para mabigyan kita ng isang pump. So, gagawa sila ng PR or SR. Saka pa lang ako order ng pump. No? So, may mga procedure. Hindi pwedeng basta-basta ka na bibili. Tatanungin mo pa sa mga requestor mo, sa end user mo, ano ba yung kinakailangan mong pump? Ano ba yung mga technical specifications mo? Ano ba yung mga mathematical informations na needed mo? So, kinakailangan, you need to know, no? And you need to follow or you need to create a procedure before finalizing na bumili ng isang pump, no? So yung mga ganong example. So an engineering economics has an analysis procedure. First, you need to define the problem, develop alternatives, develop prospective outcomes, selections of a decision criterion, analysis and comparisons of alternatives, selections of preferred alternatives, and performance monitoring and post-evaluations of result. So for example, dito muna tayo sa problem definition. A problem must be well understood. Kaya nga nasabi ko sa inyo kanina, you have to understand what is the problem muna and stated in an explicit form before the project team proceeds with the results of the analysis. Kailangan maintindihan muna natin yung problema. Yun nga, balik tayo dun sa isang backup na pump. Tatanungin ko muna, ano bang problema? Bakit kinakailangan nyo ng isang backup na pump? Kailangan maintindihan muna nila. Sir Kim, kinakailangan po namin ng isang backup na pump kasi po May tatlo po kasing pump na tumatakbo ngayon sa planta. Ngayon, natatakot po kami, baka magkaroon ng shutdown. So, needed po namin ang isang backup na pump. Para if in case po, yung isa po is hindi gumana, mayroon po tayong isang backup na pwedeng mag-substitute dito sa tatlong running pump. So, yun yung problem. Baka magkaroon ng shutdown. Piniprevent na agad nila na magkaroon ng shutdown. So, kinakailangan daw nila ng isang backup na pump. Kumbaga ang problema, wala kaming isang pump, wala kaming isang backup. Pangalawa, we need to develop alternative, searching for superior alternatives. The difference between goods and greater alternatives depends largely on the idea's individual or group problem-solving efficiency. Ito example lang ng definition ng develop of alternatives. Paano natin marirelate itong development of alternatives? Siyempre, makakapag-develop tayo ng alternative by sa isang backup na pump. Ang goal ko is hahanap potential suppliers na maaaring makapag-provide ng isang backup na pump na requirement sa aming planta. You have to develop an alternatives. So, hahanap ako ng sabihin na natin, 3 potential suppliers. The next one is develop of prospective outcomes. So, paano natin mai-relate dun sa aking example? You have to develop a prospective outcomes. Yun nga, naghanap ako ng 3 contractors. Vendor 1, vendor 2, and vendor 3. And for that, you need to select for a decision criterion. Paano? So, di ba, nakahanap ako ng 3 vendor. First vendor, second vendor, third vendor. Hindi ko na ito pabasahin ha. So, magbibigay na lang ako ng magandang example para mas makarelate kayo at mas maintindihan ninyo yung ibig sabihin ng procedure analysis. So, sa requirement ng planta namin, ito yung requirement ng plant namin, is yung pump, kailangan namin ng isang unit na pump and then may capacity na 75 kilowatts. So, dito, nagbigay sila ng isang unit din and then mayroong 73 kilowatts, 1 unit, 78 kilowatts, and 1 unit, 75 kilowatt. You need to select a decision criterion. Siyempre, I have to evaluate kung ano based dun sa mga binigay ng aking mga vendor. Siyempre, I have to decide the third vendor. Since the first one, ang needed ng requirement namin is 75 kilowatt. So, ito pipiliin ko kasi ito yung requirement namin. Analysis and comparisons of alternatives. Ayan yan, i-analyze mo. 73 kilowatts. Itatanong ko sa aming end user, Sir, if in case lang wala kaming mahanap na 75 kilowatts, would it be alright kung ang magiging capacity natin is 73 kilowatts? Sasabihin sa akin ni end user, hindi, kinakailangan ko 75 kilowatts talaga. Kasi pagbaba ng output, meaning to say, hindi ma-achieve ng planta yung yung capacity ng pump. 78 kilowatts, sir. Would it be alright po kung mas mapataas pa tayo? Yes, pwede naman. Pero much better kung maghahanap pa tayo ng isang vendor or ng isang supplier na maaaring makapag-produce ng 75 kilowatts. So you have to analyze, you have to compare all the alternatives. And then, selections of the preferred alternatives. Yan nga. Based on my comparison, I have to select the third vendor. And performance monitoring and post-evaluation results. Dito, we need to consider yung mga technical specifications, yung mga technical evaluations. Ang technical specifications natin is 75 kilowatts. Sabi na, pwede daw yung 78 kilowatts. Hindi pwede ang 73 kilowatts. Pero mas maganda, recommended nila, suggested nila is 75 kilowatts. So may nahanap naman tayong 75 kilowatts. Kumbaga, ito is magiging alternative natin kung possible wala tayong mahanap na 75 kilowatt capacity ng pump. So naiintindihan ninyo itong analysis procedure na sinasabi ko. Hindi ko na binasa yan, ha?
Yes, sir.
Magbigay na lang ako na example.
sir.
Yan. Goods. So, sige. Next one. Ito yung mga example na to, hindi ko na i-explain. No? Maganda yung mag-base na lang tayo sa experience ko. No? Possible, ma-experience nyo din yan. And then, ayun, feeling ko naman nakaka-relate naman. So, ito, the next thing that we need to tackle about is the engineering economic environment definition. Including, first is yung consumer and producer goods and services. Sige nga, Julian, pakibasa ako ng ating definition.
Consumer goods and services are those products or services that are directly used by people to satisfy their wants. Producer goods and services are used to produce consumer goods and services or other producer goods.
Okay, goods. Wait lang, ha. Sorry na. Nakain na kaya. Yung consumer goods and services, ito yung mga produkto or services na kinakailangan ng tao para masatisfy yung kanilang pangangailangan. So for example, cellphone. Another example, yung mga massage services. So considered siya as consumer goods and services. Ano yung mga producers goods and services? Ito yung mga ginagamit in order to produce the consumer goods and services. Ano ba yung maaaring makapag-create ng cellphone, di ba? So kinakailangan ng mga machines. Kinakailangan ng mga tools and equipment. Itong mga machines, itong mga makinarya, itong mga tools and equipment, they are considered as producers goods and services. Kumbaga, ito yung mga ginagamit in order to produce the consumer's necessities. Sa massage services, ano bang mga magiging producers goods and services ng massage services? Yung mga machines. Diba, tawag dito, high-tech technology tayo. Yung mga massage services. Siyempre, kinakailangan ng mga makina para makapag-massage ng isang tao. So, maliwanag tayo sa difference ng consumer goods and services and producer goods and services. Maliwanag?
Yes, sir.
Yes po, sir.
Yes po, sir.
So, goods, necessities, and luxuries. So, sabi dito, necessities are those products or services that are required to support the human life and activities that will purchased in somewhat the same quantity even though the price varies considerably. Ito na lang yung I-considered nyo. Necessities are required. Ito yung mga ito yung mga mandatory na pangangailangan ng mga tao in order to support their human life and activity. For example, tubig, kuryente, pera. Do you think yung love life is considered as necessities? Sa tingin nyo? Sabi sa akin ni Eya, yes sir, considered po yan as necessities. Tinanong ko, bakit naman? Kasi sir, required po yan sa akin para maging inspired, para always inspired po ako sa eco. Kasi pag wala po akong love life, hindi po ako magiging inspired. So, kinakailangan ko po talaga yan para makapag-solve ako ng mga problem sa eco. So, sige. Consider natin siya as necessities. But take note, in reality, hindi siya considered as necessities. Considered siya as luxuries. Why? Ano ba yung luxuries? Ito yung mga produkto or services that are desired by human and will be purchased if money is available after the required necessities have been obtained. Meaning to say, luxuries is desired. Yung mga kagustuhan lamang ng mga tao. Kumbaga sa Tagalog, luho. Yung mga jewelry, yung mga... Ang cellphone, sa tingin nyo, do you think cellphone is considered as of today? Do you think the cellphone is considered as luxury or necessities?
Necessity na po. Depende po sa ano ng tao.
Yan.
Position.
Depende sa environment. Kasi depende sa tao or depende sa environment, no? Sa case ninyo, yung cellphone is considered as necessities. Bakit? Kasi hindi naman kayo makaka-attend ng online class kung wala kayong cellphone na may internet and may camera para makapag-open cam. Pero, in reality, cellphone is not considered as necessities. Luxuries pa rin siya. Kasi may mga, in overall, kasi may mga estudyanteng nabubuhay nang hindi kailangan ng cellphone. May mga estudyante na nakakapasok nang hindi kailangan ng cellphone. Yung mga nasa bundok, di ba, yung mga mahihirap na tao, nagbe-base lang sila doon sa mga libro, sa kanilang mga guro. Hindi sila required mag-open camera, hindi sila required mag-Google link. So, again, nakadepende sa environment. So, sa case natin, siya ay considered as necessities, pero sa iba, they are considered as luxuries. So, pag tayo, nag-exam tayo, halimbawa, pina-identify ko kung ang cellphone ba is considered as necessities or luxuries, pwedeng necessities, pwedeng luxuries. Okay, both are correct. So, maliwanag tayo sa definition ng luxuries and necessities.
Yes po, sir.
Yes po, sir.
Yes po, sir.
Okay, goods. Punta naman tayo sa demand. No? Sige nga, pabasa naman ako. Pangalan ng batang ko. Magbuo.
Demand. Demand is the quantity of a certain commodity that is bought at a certain price at a given place and time. Elastic demand occurs when a decrease in selling price results in a greater than proportionate increase in sales. Inelastic demand occurs when a decrease in the selling price produces a less than proportionate increase in sales. Unitary elasticity of demand occurs when the mathematical product of volume and price is constant.
What comes to your mind when you hear the word demand? Sinong taas na lang, taas ang kamay. What comes, without looking at this definition based on your in reality, what comes to your mind when you hear the word demand? Anyone? Kayab-yab.
Ano po, sir, yung pong kagustuhan po ng tao o kaya po yung trend po mismo.
Yan. Exactly lang. Yung kagustuhan ng tao o yung pangangailangan ng tao. So, meron tayong tatlong type ng demand. The first one is the elastic demand. So, what comes to your mind? And then, after reading this one, based on your understanding? Anyone? Pilares.
Ang elastic demand ka po, sir.
Yes po.
Ang based po sa intindi ko is pag elastic po parang either pag nag-decrease or nag-increase po yung price po ng ating goods ay meron pong parang nag-change po yung demand niya for our consumers.
Correct naman. Other answer. Almac.
Siguro po, sir, mag-base lang po ako sa mga situation po. Kunyari po yung nag-sale po, kunwari is cellphone po. Tapos yung nabanggit po dito sa greater proportionate increase in sales po. Meaning po yung mga, kunyari po yung mga nag-aabang po na bumaba yung price po ng gatong phone, bigla po tataas yung sales po nila dahil po sa pagbaba ng price. Meaning po magkakaroon po sila na mas marami pong order po through the decreasing in selling price po.
Yan So tama yung ibig sabihin niya So nakadepende talaga sa magiging situation So for example, pag dami ng demand So pag dami ng demand, syempre pagbago din syempre mababago yung presyo. It's either tumaas yung magiging sales kasi nga sobrang taas ng demand, or pag bumaba naman yung selling price. So So, bumaba yung selling price and then tataas yung sales. Di kapag pinapababa natin yung demand, pinapababa natin yung presyo considering the demand is, pag tumataas yung demand, ibinababa natin yung possible PB, binababa natin yung price or possible itinataas natin. So, inelastic demand occurs when a decrease in the selling price produces a less than proportional in sales. Anyone? Inelastic. Sinong gustong mag-explain? Sige. Anong pangalan nun? Anyone?
So,
Yes,
policy
sige,
ko po. Ang pagkakaintindi ko po sa inelastic demand po ay, kunyari, based po sa description, kapag daw po yung dinidecrease daw po yung demand, hindi po nito gaano naapektuhan yung pagtaas po or pag-decrease ng price po pala ay hindi po naapektuhan yung demand ng mga tao sa product.
Yan, exact. Yan, no? So, hindi nakaka-apekto yung presyo ng hindi nakaka-apekto yung presyo ng example, ng mga bilihin or ng produkto. No? For example, halimbawa, may 2 kilo ng bigas. Sa pamilya ni King, kada isang araw, nakakapag-konsumo sila ng 2 kilos of bigas. Tumaas man or bumaba yung presyo ng bilihin, still, ito pa din yung demand nila. Ito pa rin yung bibili nila. Ito pa rin yung ikukonsumo nila. Tumaas man or bumaba yung presyo, still 2 kilo pa rin yung bibili nila sa isang araw. Unitary elasticity of demand occurs when the mathematical products of volume and price is constant. Ang magandang example nito is yung education. Considering yung mga decision making ng inyong mother or father based doon sa education, no? Ang kumbaga tumaas man or bumaba yung inyong, halimbawa lang tumaas man or bumaba yung inyong tuition fee sa BSU, ganun pa rin ang bilang ng papaaralin ng inyong mga magulang. Hindi po pwede na, tumaas yung yung presyo tumaas yung matrikula, 2 na lang. No? Yun yung sinasabi ng unitary demand. Kahit tumaas man or bumaba yung presyo ng isang produkto or ng isang services, still, yun pa rin yung example sa pag-aaral nga, yun pa rin yung number of students na paaaralin nila. So, ito nga, so general price demand relationship. So, dito sa first figure na to, sige nga, bigyan ko kayo ng 1 minute to study this one and kindly explain. And kindly raise your hand if ano yung naging assumption nyo dito. Sige. Eric.
So, ang pagkakaintindi ko po sa graph, sir, is pag mataas po yung demand is low po yung price, which is...
brother.
Ang pagkakaintindi ko po sa graph is pag mataas po yung demand is low po yung price, which is inversely proportional po sila. Then, pag nababa naman po yung demand is nataas naman po yung price.
Yan, So, tama yung sinabi niya, Wait lang sana. So, sabi nga dito, tama ba ako? The higher the price leads to lower the quantity of demand. Tama? Tama ba yung sinabi mo?
Aba, sir, yun naman.
Pagtaas ng presyo, pagbaba ng quantity ng demand, and then pagbaba naman ng presyo, taas ng demand. Tama? Tama?
Opo, sir.
Yan. So, same lang din naman dito sa Lok series, no? Okay. The next one is the competition, monopoly, and oligopoly. Sige nga, pabasa naman ako. Liesa.
Competition, monopoly, and oligopoly. So, perfect competition occurs in a situation where a commodity or service is supplied by a number of vendors and there is nothing to prevent additional vendors entering the market. Monopoly is...
Okay. Pagdating, ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng perfect monopoly? Ang magandang example nito is yung mga nakikita nating marketplace sa mga website, no? Like sa mga online, katulad ng Facebook Marketplace. Considered siya as a perfect competition sa TikTok. Yun yung mga trending ngayon as yung mga trending example ng perfect competition kung saan wala silang kumbaga lahat sila is may freedom na magbenta, no? Kasi meron silang page, meron silang personal account. So kung mapapansin nyo, may mga sa Facebook, yung may mga online seller na nag-o-online business na lang, no? Yun ang example ng perfect competition, no? The next one is the monopoly. Ito ay opposite ng perfect competition. Kung yung perfect competition, sila ay allowed pumasok sa different kind of market. Dito, a perfect monopoly exists when a unique product or services is available from a single vendor, that the vendor can prevent the entry of all others into the market. So for example, yung Facebook is may karapatan na ito diba, Facebook is considered as monopoly. Wala namang Facebook 1, Facebook version 2, Facebook version 3. Kumbaga, iisa lang. Unique yung services niya. Instagram, considered din siya as a monopoly. Though, mas trend lang yung Facebook, ginagaya lang, parang Instagram, ganun lang din naman. So, yun yung mga kinoconsidered natin as a monopoly. Kumbaga, yung mga services nila, yung mga product nila, walang katulad. Kumbaga, hindi pwedeng gayahin. Kumbaga, ito ay nakapatented na, kumbaga sa isang libro, nakapatented, no? Oligopoly exists when there are so few suppliers of a product or services that action by one will almost inevitably result in similar actions by the others. Magandang halimbawa nito is sa isang business, may isang manufacturer ng isang brand. Ito, kumbaga, hawak niya, meron siyang mga accredited supplier or distributor. Ito yung tinutukoy natin as oligopoly. No? Itong mga accredited supplier or accredited distributor are considered as oligopoly. Kumbaga, may bilang lang yung mga suppliers ng isang produkto or brand or services. The next one is the supply. The law of supply and demand. Supply is the quantity of a certain commodity that is offered for sale at a certain price at a given place and time. What comes to your mind when you hear the word supply? Madalas natin yung naririnig. Laging familiar yan sa atin.
Dami po ng mga bibilin po.
Yan. So, dami ng bibilin. Kumbaga, paiksi natin stocks. No? Pangtustos. Yan yung mga pangtustos. They are considered as supply. The law of supply and demand may be stated as follows. Under conditions of a perfect competition, the price at which a given product will be supplied and purchased. Again, the price at which a given product will be supplied and purchased is the price that will result in the supply and demand being equal. Meaning to say, yung produkto na isusupply natin at ibebenta natin, at ito din yung presyo na supply and demand. Equal siya. So, kung makikita nyo dito sa ating law of supply and demand, So first figure. So yun nga, I will give you 1 minute to study this one and raise your hand if you want to explain. Ayab-yab.
Yung pong supply at price po ay directly proportional po. Meaning po kapag po tumaas po yung price, tataas din po yung supply. O kaya po pag po tumaas ang supply, tataas din po yung price.
Yan. According sa law of supply and demand, pagtaas ng presyo, pagtaas ng supply, pagtaas ng presyo. Pagbaba ng supply, pagbaba ng presyo. So yun lang yung ibig sabihin ng ating price and supply relationship. Pagdating dito sa price supply demand relationship naman, may kino-consider na tayong demand. Anyone? May dalawang curve yan, ha? Sige, Lorzano.
Sa pagkakaintindi ko naman po is yung sa demand naman po is pagbaba po ng sa pagbaba po ng units ay pagbaba din po pagtaas naman po ng price, tapos sa supply naman po is sa pagtaas po ng units is pagtaas din po ng price. Then may point po na mag-i-equal po ang supply at ang demand.
Okay, tama naman. Other answer. Pa-elaborate pa. Almac.
Siguro po the same situation po sa figure 1 to 3 po. Possible po tumaas po ang supply and demand po, and possible din po bumaba ang supply and demand when it comes po sa units po. So both pares pong pwede pong mangyari po. Pwede pong bumaba ang supply habang bumababa ang demand, while pwede rin pong bumaba ang demand tas tumaas po ang supply and vice versa po.
Exactly, So, yun yung magiging definition natin ng price-supply-demand relationship. So, dito naman sa law of diminishing returns, mabasa naman ako, Adrian.
So, the law of diminishing returns. So, when the use of one of the factors of production is limited, either in increased cost or by absolute quantity, a point will be reached beyond which is increase in the variable factors will result in a less than proportionate increase in output.
Anyone who could explain the law of diminishing returns based on the definition? Anyone? Sinong gustong mag-explain? Madali lang yan. Understanding lang naman. Aside for Alma, gusto ko marinig yung iba. Engineers. Anyone? Sige, ako na lang. No? Ibig sabihin ng the law of diminishing returns. No? Kung imagine na, example, may isa tayong product sa production natin, kinakailangan ng 10 workers in order to satisfy the 10,000 items. Sabi nila, dito achievable naman. Achievable. Sabi nila, magdagdag kaya tayo pa ng 5 workers. Yun yung sinasabi ng the law of diminishing demands na hindi na naman kinakailangan na mag-add pa ng mga workers in order to satisfy, in order to supply yung 10,000 items. Kasi yung 10 workers is enough na to produce 10,000 items. No? So kumbaga, hindi na kinakailangan pa ng magdagdag ng mga workers, and possible yung efficiency niya, yung production niya is magkakaroon pa ng epekto. No? So, yung ibig sabihin ng the law of diminishing demand. So, the next one, so we need to tackle about the cost terminologies. So, there are variety of costs to be considered in an engineering economic analysis. These costs differ in their frequency of occurrences, relative magnitude, and degree of impact on the study. So, the first one is the fixed costs. Are those unaffected by changes in activity level over a feasible range of operations or the capacity or capability available. So, fixed costs includes insurances and taxes on facilities, general management and administrative salaries, license fee, interest cost, or borrowed capital. Itong fixed cost, kumbaga ito yung mga fixed cost, meaning to say, naka-fix, ito yung mga nakaperming gastos. And kumbaga, sa isang business, ito yung isang expenses that are not dependent on the level of goods or services produced by the business. So, in order, yung mga, kumbaga, yung mga kinakailangang bayaran, mag-run man yung isang business or hindi mag-run yung isang business. Yan nga, mga example yan is yung mga salary, license fee, mga renta, yan, consider din yan. Utility bills, considered yan as a fixed cost. Variable cost. Ito ay mga cost which is associated with an operation that varies total with the quantity of outputs or other measures of activity level. Kumbaga, ito namang variable cost, ito yung expenses or gastos that changes in proportion to how much a company produce or sell. For example, ito yung mga cost of materials and labor used in product or services because they vary in total with the number of output units. Even the cost per unit stayed the same. Again, ito yung mga expenses or mga gastos kung saan kinakailangan in order to gain 10,000 items, kinakailangan ng halimbawa 10 machines. Yun yung mga sinasabi nating variable cost. Kailangan 10 machine para makapag-come up ng 10,000 items. Nakadepende yung cost natin doon sa volume changes, no? Mga example yan, yung mga raw materials, production supplies, mga ganun. The next one is the variable cost, incremental cost, or incremental revenue is the additional cost that results from increasing an output of a system by 1 or more units. Kumbaga, additional expenses lang siya. Hindi naman siya totally kinakailangan, pero para makapag-add, para makapagbigay ng mas maganda pang efficiency or mas maganda pang output. So, nagdadagdag sila. Ng example, ng isang machines, 2 machines, 3 machines, or napakadami pang machines. Direct cost or cost that can be reasonably measured and allocated to a specific output or work activity. So, the labor and material costs directly associated with a product or services or construction activity are direct costs. So, for example, the materials needed to make a pair of scissors would be a direct cost. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng direct cost? Itong mga direct cost, ito yung mga expenses na talagang kinakailangan sa manufacturing, connected sa manufacturing. Example, isang product, connected sa isang manufacturing ng product. Kumbaga, ito yung required gastusan kasi hindi makakapag-provide ng isang item kung hindi bibilin ang ganitong mga expenses. So, indirect cost are costs that are difficult to allocate to a specific output or work activity. Normally, ito yung mga costs allocated to a selected formula to the outputs or work activities. For example, yung common tools, general supplies, and equipment maintenance in the plant are treated as indirect costs. Itong mga indirect costs are considered as ito yung mga expenses na hindi naman konektado sa manufacturing ng isang goods or services. Kumbaga, hindi siya nakaka-apekto. Example, ano ba yung mga kadalasang indirect costs? Yung mga salary, mga office supplies expenses. Diba, ito, kinakailangan to ng isang business, pero hindi naman to nakaka-apekto sa production or manufacturing ng isang planta. So, yun yung mga tinatawag natin na indirect cost. Ano yung mga overhead cost? Ang overhead cost is considered to be an indirect cost. It consists of plant operating costs that are not direct labor or direct material cost. Ito is kapatid lang niya yung indirect cost. Ano yung standard cost? Are plant costs per unit of output that are established in advance of actual production or service delivery. Kumbaga, ito yung mga estimated cost. Ito yung magandang example sa standard cost. Yung mga estimated cost na possible in the near project na ay kailangan natin gumastos ng 20,000 pesos doon pa lang sa PVC pipe. Kumbaga, inaalam na natin yung possible cost in the near future. Pinaplano natin yung mga expenses. Ano naman yung cash cost versus book cost? Yung cash cost involves payment of cash are estimated from a perspective analysis and are the future expenses incurred for the alternatives being analyzed. While the book costs are costs that do not involve cash payments, but rather represents the recovery of past expenditures over a fixed period of time. So, ang pinagkaiba ng cash cost, in terms of payment, cash, book cost, hindi siya involved sa cash payment. Yan lang yung tatandaan nyo sa cash cost and book cost. Ano yung sunk cost? It is one that has occurred in the past and has no relevance to the estimates of future costs and revenues related to the alternative course of action. Ito na lang isipin nyo, no? No relevance to the estimate of future costs and the revenues. Opportunity cost is incurred because of the use of limited resources, such the opportunity to use those resources to monetary advantage in the alternative use is forgot. It is the cost of the best rejected opportunity and is often hidden or implied. In the life cycle cost refers to the summations of all costs related to a product, structure, system, or services during its lifespan. Example, ano ba yung mga summation ng product? Ano ba yung mga expenses na maaaring gamitin natin sa isang sasakyan? No? Siyempre, yung mga expenses niyan, ano ba yung mga expenses para mapatagal pa yung lifespan ng isang product natin? Example niya yung sasakyan. Siyempre, yung maintenance cost niya. Ano ba yung mga consider natin? Yung gasoline and etc. So, nakadepende doon sa mga expenses in order to see kung ano yung lifespan ng ating isang produkto, like yun nga, sasakyan natin. So, I think that would be all for the cost terminologies. So, do you have questions with regards to the introduction to engineering economics? May question kayo?
Wala pa naman po, sir.
Wala pa
naman po, sir.
Wala pa po.
Ayaw nga pala, Alma. So, kailangan pasulat ako ng mga absence or mga late. And then, kasi nag-screenshot na ako ng sa inyo, no? Kanina. Then, kailangan magtugma tayo ng attendance natin. So, sa face-to-face meeting, pa-provide sa akin ng list of absents and list of late. Okay tayo doon? Sa index
Starting
card na lang.
today po or sa next meeting po?
Today.
Sige po sir, thank you po.
Okay. Dapat magtugma tayo ha. So kung ilan yung libang ko, dapat hindi yung libang. Goods, goods.
Yes po sir, goods po. Noted po.
Okay. May question kayo regarding sa ating introduction to engineering economics? Yung mga definition natin. Questions? Wala? Wala pa so far?
Sir, wala naman po so far about po sa topic po. Pero yung nirelease lang po sana, concern po ni Miss Pelares po. Ano raw po, hindi raw po magamit po yung camera po niya. Pero kayo na po yung gumagana po. Since nawala daw po siya sa meet po, nagsabi lang po sa akin. I-reset lang.
Okay lang naman.
Thank you po.
Yes po.
Sorry po, napinot lang po.
Okay. I think kung wala kayong tanong, we can proceed sa ating computations. So again, required sa akin na may hawak kayong calcu. So ito naman para din naman sa inyo, no? So pag wala kayong calcu, much better, magsabi agad sa akin para hindi kayo nakatuwa during our computation. Pero bukas na lang natin ituloy yung computation natin. Ano? So magpahinga muna kayo, aralin nyo. And please, pa-advance study ako ng single cash flow, considering yung mga discounts, interest, profit. So, yun naman is familiar na sa inyo. So, paaral na lang ako, no? Para pagdating bukas, kung may mga tanong kayo sa mga interest, discount, paano mag-compute ng profit, so, masasagot natin. Okay tayo doon. And tomorrow, ayoko nag-a-announce ako na mag-open cam ha. So, alimap. So, kailangan talaga naka-open cam na. Goods,
Yes
goods.
po sir, noted po.
Kasi if wala na kayong tanong, so, in-introduce ko lang muna yung engineering economics. Yung mga principles, procedures, analysis. So, okay na tayo doon. So, I think we can proceed for the computations tomorrow. So, sige, yun na lang muna. That would be all, guys. So, thank you so much and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Sige po sir.